Folks, my name is Minerva Ward, and I want to add my voice to the discussion taking place in Saint Lucia, online, etc., about what the events of Sunday, the events leading up to it, and the discussion taking place after. Folks, I'm Saint Lucian. I was born at Victoria Hospital, raised in Leclerc, raised in Corinth Estate. I will guard jealously Saint Lucian's right to protest, right? I will guard that jealously. I'm Saint Lucian, and that's our fundamental right. What I will not accept are people framing political agendas as protest. Let's be honest about what happened on Sunday. This was not a protest. This was a political event. This was a mass political event. An event for which police approval should have been sought, right? Folks, I listened to Richard Frederick when it was his brainchild to organize this event or to encourage people to turn out, right? His words were clear. This is an anti-Chasney rally. Folks, we all know the history of Richard Frederick in politics. We all know his anti-Chasney agenda. We all know that. Let's not fool ourselves. Let's not pretend. We all know what the objective was. Before Chasney even came into power, from the time Richard was what's the word I'm looking for? From the time Richard was unceremoniously ejected from the UWP, he has been gunning for Chasney, right? It is his right to do. But let's not pretend that this is not a political event, that it's a protest. It's not. It was a political event. And what happened on Sunday was a political motorcade for which you need to seek permission from the requisite authorities, in this case being the Royal Saint Lucia Police Force and the Traffic Department. You need to seek permission from them, period. For any mass event, carnival, all the political rallies the SLP has, the UWP has, whoever is having it, you have to seek permission from the requisite authorities, and the guidelines are there from which department you need to seek permission for. It's there, it's on the government side. Richard is well aware of it because he's a lawyer, so he knows the law. He's been a minister of government. He's organized political events. He knew damn well that he needed to seek and get approval from the police. But you know what he did? He encouraged people to flagrantly disregard the law, to circumvent the law, to frame it as a casual drive around. Get in your vehicles, folks. Come. We're going to drive around the island. Folks, this was an organized event. I saw the posters promoting the event. He was promoting the event. Christopher Hunt was promoting the event on his show. It was a planned and coordinated mass political event. There were big trucks with loudspeakers. There were drink trucks. It was a motorcade. And you need permission from the police to have a motorcade, period. This is the law. We are under a state of emergency, but even outside of a state of emergency, he still needed to obtain permission from the police to have such an event. But he did not, because these days it seems that trend in Saint Lucia is to believe that we're above the law, right? So we can make excuses, we can circumvent the law, we can go around it, and we'll make excuses. Oh, I was just driving around in my car. Oh, all sorts of bullshit excuses, all sorts of foolish excuses. I had a video some time ago and I talked about the lawlessness in Saint Lucian society. This is it. This is the lawlessness I'm talking about. When people make excuses for the lawlessness in places like from people like Richard, who's supposed to know better, who does know better. This is the lawlessness I'm talking about, folks. And this is a very slippery slope, a very dangerous place where people think that they can get away, they can get away, they can break the law with impunity and get away from it because they're big and bad. They know the law, they can wheel and deal and get away with it. Oh, I'm just driving around my car. Who the hell can stop me driving around my car? No, you are in a freaking motorcade. You're in a political motorcade. You are in a political mass event for which permission was not obtained, right? So when the police, obviously, everyone saw the videos, the police spoke to Richard, pulled him aside, cautioned him. He left. He left, asked the crowd to disperse and left. Christopher Hunt takes it up himself to continue going on, not just going on, coordinating. He's one of the promoters of the event. promoting his show, encouraging people to take part in an illegal motorcade, because it's illegal because there was no permission given, right? Encouraging, coordinating. I was watching somebody's live, a chief cook and bottle washer operator of the Labour Party. I was watching her live. She heard her on the phone, coordinated with Christopher Hunt. Here, where are you going? There, coordinating all the pieces. The police cautioned Christopher 3 times along the way. 3 times before he was arrested. 3 times Christopher Hunt was cautioned by police that what he was doing is breaking the law. Richard Patrick was wise enough and smart enough to pull out of the motorcade and to leave and to go home, and he got the message loud and clear. Christopher Hunt, no, he figured this is the time, this is the agenda, this is what we're doing. We can break the law, we can disregard the law. Folks, I mean, when people think that the law doesn't have to be obeyed, that they can get away with it because either they're wealthy enough, they have the political connections, they're like, it's a very, 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 very dangerous place for our country. This is not about people's right to protest. This is not about people's right to make their displeasure heard. That's not about it, right? Alan Chastney is a duly elected prime minister. He got a mandate by the majority of people 4 years ago for a 5-year term. He still has 1 year left on his term. Right? People can make noise. People can voice their political opinions. We are the democratic country. I will guard the deaf Saint-Lucians' right to speak, to make their voices heard. Elections are coming up. There's an election less than a year away or less than a year away, whenever the Prime Minister calls it. Right? That is where we voice our political displeasure. Right? With what's happening. We don't break the laws and have a mass political event framed as a protest. Last week I made a comment about the police should turn a blind eye to the Black Lives Matter protest. And people ask me why the inconsistency in my positions. This is it, right? The Black Lives Matter protest equally did not have permission. At least they sought it. At least they recognized that the law exists where they needed to seek permission for a mass event. At least they sought it. They did not get permission because they applied to the police. The police doesn't have the powers under the state of emergency now to grant them permission, right? I said that the police, that was my opinion, right? I think the police should turn a blind eye to the Black Lives Matter protest as long as people take the necessary precautions, protocols, social distancing, etc. That was my position, right? My position is not inconsistent with what I'm saying now, right? This is the Black Lives Matter protest was a protest against social injustices taking place around the world towards Black people. Our own Botham Jean, we know the story, being killed at the hands of a Dallas City Police Department. So while I recognized equally that the Black Lives Matter protest did not have the legal permission to go ahead, my suggestion to the police, and I'm not giving the police a directive. I'm in no position to give the police a directive. I'm voicing my opinion like every other Saint Lucian is entitled to, right? My opinion was that the police should exercise some leniency with that one, turn a blind eye to the small numbers that were out there, just social injustice, etc. Folks, what happened on Sunday? It was not a protest. It was a political event. Let's be clear, it's a political event, right? Richard Frederick has had his agenda, his anti-Chastney agenda, for the longest while. Does not respect the mandate given to the Prime Minister by the majority. He's free to have his perspective or his personal agenda against Chastney. He's free to have his opinion about the performance of the government. I have mine. I think the government is doing a fantastic job. You know, I look at Soufriere, I complete transformation in Soufriere. I see the development plans for Vieux-Fort. I see the St. Jude's almost completed, looking fantastic. Work is going to start on Hiranora next week or this week. Like, fantastic work being done in the country. I see Castries basically rising from the ashes. Like, I see, I've looked at the UWP's 200 things they have achieved since they've been in office in 4 years, and I'm impressed. Is everything perfect? No, everything is not perfect. Nowhere in the world is everything perfect, right? After the government, kudos for its handling of COVID. COVID has proven that Saint Lucia's healthcare is the best it's ever been in Saint Lucia. The healthcare in Saint Lucia has been the shit from the time before I was born and still today. It's still today. It's like it has a long way to come. But right now it is the best. It's at the best place it has ever been, and it has been tried by COVID and proven by COVID. One of the things we needed to do was to get that St. Jude's Hospital built, and it's on the way to being completed. And I say kudos to the government for that. So Richard F. Frederick has his agenda against Shastney. I have my position of supportive of the government. My point is this: Shastney was elected by the majority. There's an election coming up soon. Wait for it. You could stage all your political protests, all your political rallies, all of that. Do it within the confines and the ambit of the law. Do not try to circumvent the law because you think you're big and bad. Don't try it. Do not try it. And the people making excuses for that, shame on you. Shame on the people trying to excuse that. I see people making excuses. Oh, the Prime Minister had a motorcade last week or a few weeks ago. When? The Prime Minister had no motorcade. Stop looking for excuses. Stop looking for stupid, ridiculous excuses. The Prime Minister was driving around with 3 vehicles, his and 2 others. The Prime Minister was literally driving around the country surveying the state of works, because there's lots of different works going on in the communities, as you saw from the UWP's 200 achievements since they've been in office. Lots of infrastructural projects taking place all around the country. The Prime Minister has a right, and he should get up off his office and go to the communities and see what the work being done. And that's what the Prime Minister was doing. People talking about motorcade. Where's the motorcade? The Prime Minister had a vehicle with his security detail, as he should, and he had a vehicle with there were other people from infrastructure, obviously looking at the state of projects in the country. You know, there was no motorcade, there was no mass event. So stop trying to create false equivalencies. That makes absolutely no sense, talking about the Prime Minister had a motorcade. Did he get permission? Like, ridiculous. And I hear supposedly educated people supposed to know better, talking that garbage. First class nonsense, right? What I will say though is that the Prime Minister needs to wear his mask when he's out in the communities or surveying his. Wear your mask. You're a leader. Set the example. We ask people to be wearing masks and social distancing. Make sure when you go into the communities to look at the state of works that your mask is on. Set that example, please. But the people who are trying to equate the Prime Minister surveying the projects in the communities with a motorcade and a campaigning, bullshit, right? I see people talking about a state of emergency, why we're in a state of emergency. And you know, too, like, I have my opinion about a state of emergency. Quite frankly, I believe that we should have been extending the state of emergency incrementally rather than a 4-month increase to the state of emergency. Again, my personal opinion. There are lots of other countries, lots of other places that are still under a state of emergency. I live in the Northwest Territories in Canada, and we also in a state of emergency. The Yukon government just extended the state of emergency there by 90 days, a couple of days ago. So people have different opinions about whether a state of emergency is needed or not. I have my personal opinion about that. I don't think it should have been extended all the way up to September. I think it should have been done incrementally. But that's beside the point. The point is we have laws on the books, state of emergency or not, at events like Sunday, you need to get permission for it. Let's start obeying and respecting the laws of Saint Lucia. Otherwise, we are going to decline in a very, very lawless society that none of us want to live in, that I would not want to come back to, when people think that they can get away with breaking the law and the police, they can challenge the police and give the police a hard time. And you know what, like, speaking about the police, my last video I did was to praise the police for their work. And I want to praise the police again. I want to shout out to the police in Saint Lucia. You guys are doing a phenomenal job under tremendous pressure. And as we continue on to the silly season, it's going to get worse. I listened to the Commissioner, Milton Daisy, this morning, and he said it. He said every single year, every single year election period is the same thing. The police, no matter who is the commissioner, is always accused about taking a political side. Every single decision they make, it's going to be seen through a political lens, right? And the police is working under tremendous, tremendous, tremendous pressure. And when people like Richard Frederick, yes, shame on you. You should supposed to have known better and supposed to have done better. You're an officer of the law, but you're a lawyer. You used to be a police. You should know better. And I condemn you for what you tried to do on Sunday. In any event, you put the police under tremendous pressure and put them in a position that they should not have been. So I commend Commissioner Milton Daisy for doing a fantastic job. I commend the officers for working under very, very difficult circumstances. Keep the faith, keep your head up, keep enforcing the law consistently, not for one political party or whatever. Keep enforcing the law because, guys, everybody wants to challenge the law now. Challenge the police, challenge officers, challenge everything, circumvent the law, skirt around, etc. Guys, you keep doing the fantastic work that you're doing. Keep enforcing our laws consistently. Ensure that our society never descends into one of chaos and lawlessness. Keep doing a fantastic job that you're doing. Keeping Saint Lucia safe and lawful. Thank you.